Hey, I've organized all my playlists on this channel so that you're able to easily find different types of shoes, different brands of shoes, as well as finding all my shoe battles, worth the price shoe reviews, etc., all in one place. Enjoy. Welcome. It's Wisconsin Shoe Guy, and I'm here today to talk about a shoe battle. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the George Cleverly Atom, which is the origin, as I understand it anyway, of the Adelaide shoe, Capto Adelaide specifically, okay, which is here. Okay. And I'm going to compare it to some new Adelaides that I've picked up. Now, I'm going to do a different video for each one, so you're only going to see one at a time. And out of the gate, we're going to talk about the Enzo Bonafe 3966, which is right here. Now, Adelaides are a type of shoe, right? These are both made out of grain leather. This is pebble grain, and that's hatch grain. You can see the difference in the pattern is fairly striking. So let's talk what makes it an Adelaide. The U-throat here is what makes it an Adelaide. Adelaides can either come in cap toes, they can also come in wingtips. They can have heel caps. They can have no heel caps. They can have absolutely plain toes. They can also have plain toes with a medallion. They can have caps with a medallion, without a medallion. They can have wings with medallion and without a medallion. So there's a lot of different variations to this particular style of shoe. They have broguing. Okay. If you've looked at my videos before, you know that I have a Loke Evans, which is no broguing. Right, so that there's an austerity version and there's a regular version, and it's a nice standard dress shoe, which Justin Fitzpatrick said in his blog, The Shoe Snob, last year, that is probably replacing the Capto Oxford as the standard of men's dress, and so for among other reasons, of the fact that I like it, I have decided to make this a cornerstone of my collection. So this is the George Cleverly. It's the origin. And this has a peak in the heel cap. It has small brogue holes and has a cap toe with a medallion. Okay. Now, because this is pebble grain, a lot of people are going to question why I put such a high shine. You can see a reflection on my lights there in the shine, but I like having a high shine on all my shoes. I even put the high shine on the hatch grain, which is even less common, and it's not a super high shine here. These are new, and the shine takes a while to build, but I certainly have it started, and you can see the difference between how it reflects here versus there, right? But as we continue to go, I will build it out. Now, this has no broguing, or excuse me, no medallion. So medallions are broguing, but it has broguing everywhere else. And this has a factory patina, okay, done by Enzo Bonafe, where it has the brogue lines in a dark color, and then has this beautiful, they call it sienna, but it's basically a burgundy that's along the rest of it. Now, from a quality perspective, there's a fairly substantial difference between any Enzo Bonafe and a George Cleverly ready to wear. George Cleverly is best known for its bespoke shoes, and their bespoke shoes are hand welted, handmade, just absolutely gorgeous, beautiful shoes, but also run, in the $4,000 or $5,000 arena. This is a hand welted shoe that is a ready to wear, runs about $580. So a substantial difference there. If you look at the Cleverly Atom from their ready-to-wear line, which many people suspect are made at Crockett and Jones, like many of the ready-to-wear brands from the bespoke houses, but I don't really know. Okay? And I'll explain why I think that. This runs right around, I think it was $580, $590 as well, or 550 pounds, which would be around $700. So it's a very classic shoe. Has a single sole. You can see the sole is very, very well done. And you can see that wear on this is very, very slow, which I like. Has some really nice nails in the heel. Has a fiddleback waist, and has 2 rows of nails in the toe. Okay? Very small heel. Now, the reason that I think that it's from Crockett and Jones is because this heel cap is classic of Crockett and Jones, especially this part here, where it's actually sewn in at the same angle as the brogue line on the heel cap. That is exactly the same, including the stitches on the side, are exactly the same as my Crockett and Jones Westbourne. So that's why I think that. Now the Crockett and Jones Westbourne does not have a blind stitch sole. So this is definitely an upgraded version. And it looks substantially different than the Crockett and Jones hand grade line as well, but which also has a fiddle back, but doesn't have the painted difference and so forth. So this is definitely, you know, different, but like any very, very highly skilled artisan house, you know, they can do anything that they want. And this is just an example of where I think that they do excellent work. And if they don't, I apologize. Again, this is purely supposition on my part. You know, Cleverly could have a factory for all I know. I mean, I know that they have their bespoke house that they do in London. So in any case, very, very good shoe, you know, very high quality, not bespoke quality, but very good. Now, the lining on this feels like it could be veg tan leather, but it's black, which is not really common for veg tan linings. But again, that's a completely stylistic choice that they can make however they want. And one of the things that really makes this unique for me in my collection is that most of the Adelaides that I have that have medallions have no cap toe. So I'm pretty excited to have this one because of that. And of course, I picked it up in the pebble grain. Pebble grain, I've been doing grains this year, so that was the key decision factor in it. But also, I found the grains to be somewhat cheaper than the smooth leathers, which I have no idea why. So now hatch grains are actually usually more expensive than veg tan leathers, although Enzo Bonafe, they don't charge a premium for it. But this has no seam in the back at all. Now it's really common for the heels to have a small seam in the back here. It's really uncommon for it to have no seam. The only other pair that I have that has no seam is Gaziano and Girling. And Gaziano and Girling actually pointed that out in a video where Tony Gaziano talked about that this is a different level of clicking, where this is harder to cut the leather so that there's no seam required at the heel. So it's nice to see Enzo Bonafe did that. But it's a very, very good shoemaking house. And this is 100% hand welted, hand stitched. Like Vass, Enzo Bonafe is known for really hand making the shoes. So you can see there's a slight taper to this, although not an extreme taper. You'll see when if you look at the videos that I do for my October 10th, that has an extreme taper. It kind of looks like a cowboy boot. So that's pretty different. But, you know, on the sole here, also fiddleback waist, you can see that the sole on this wears quite a bit more. I've probably worn them about the same. So that's, but again, it scuffs up like this, but then it doesn't really wear down, right? So that's not a bad thing. And I have 2 pairs of Enzo Bonafe, one with a Lulu plate and one without, and I'm kind of testing them out to see whether or not the toe wear is substantially different. If I notice the toe on this starting to wear down, again, I've only worn it a few times, I will put toe plates on it, but for right now, I'm just kind of experimenting to see how that goes. You can also see, as I've said before, I'm really hard on my shoes. I've got a nice scuff here in the heel stack that I'm going to need to address. That's more of a chip than a scuff, so I may have to sand it. Oh my goodness! But we'll figure that out. You can also see some wear here and where I rub my heels together when I walk, and it looks like I rub my balls of my feet together as well. So lovely times. But you can see the brogue line burnishing, okay, as I would call it, is really, really substantial in this. And I think back to you know, some Stefano banners that I saw when I first started looking at shoes, and this really kind of has that look to it, a really, really nice look, and something that's cool. If you've seen my videos before, you know that I've actually done this to several of my shoes, just with polish. So this was done with dye, and I really like it. I like the way it came out. Now this has the peak on the heel cap as well, but you'll notice this peak actually goes all the way up to the brogue line, where if you look at the Cleverly, the peak is substantially below the brogue line. not terribly, right? But it's not round, and it has the peak, but it's not all the way up there. So that's a small style difference that I like. Again, something just a little different. If I look at the narrowness at the top of the two, I would say that they're substantially similar. Also substantially similar in the width at the bottom, although I would say that just from eyeballing it, that the Enzo is a little bit broader. You can see the last of them is also very similar. It almost looks like the Enzo is a little bit wider, although they fit about the same on my foot. So just a slight difference there. And you can see the waist on them is also, I would say that the Enzo is quite a bit wider. So I'll do measurements on the waist as well so that you're able to see that. And on the heel, which is also wider. Okay. So at the end of the day, the Cleverly, because of the narrow waist, because of the narrow heel, slightly slimmer profile, is going to have what I would consider to be a slightly more elegant look. Still in pebble grain, so it's got a little bit of texture to it, which I think goes a long way in a wardrobe. The Enzo has a little bit of a chunkier look, a less formal look because of the hatch grain, and just a slightly less elegant because it is a wider waist and heel, although still quite slick and quite a nice look. So that's my comparison of the two. In terms of shoe battle, and I'll post the stitch densities and so forth on here. I'm going to say that they're pretty much equivalent. They're similar pricing. Yes, I realize there's $100 difference or so between them, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the Enzo as winning because it is a hand welted shoe for that price. That means it's got a thicker insole. It means it doesn't use glue to hold the welt on. So the glue is actually on the bottom of the insole. They have a strip of canvas called gemming, and they sew the welt to that, but they glue the gemming onto the bottom of the insole. And they use a thinner insole, which means that they also have a thicker amount of cork underneath the insole between the sole and the insole. So Goodyear welted shoes are great. They're very, very sturdy. They can be resold many, many, many times. Hand welted shoes are better. Okay, that's just my opinion. Some people can disagree with that as much as they like. So anyway, that's it. That's my take, and look forward to your comments. Let me know what you think.